Hi, it's me again, Kim Kelsey with my book, In Between My Tears. I read to you the second chapter, and now I'm on the third chapter, chapter 3. I read to you about being placed in a mental ward for children, and my first real terrifying experience of being placed in seclusion. Now I'm going to read the third chapter and then I'll share a little bit afterwards. Chapter 3. We spent many a days just sitting around and laughing and having a good time. My siblings and I were always making up and playing silly games. My brother Randy and I would play a game called I Dare You. He would always dare me to go down into the basement in the dark. The stairway to our basement was off the kitchen, and at the right of the basement stairs were the pantry where we stored our groceries. The pantries were dark and very dim. Randy and I would sit there in that tiny space when we played hide and seek. This was before our game stopped being innocent and fun, and many older brothers made it wicked. A small light was kept in the basement, and at the bottom of the stairs, the first thing you could see was a huge hole that had been knocked out of the wall. It was constantly leaving dirt and gravel on the floor. Daddy had even put up an old blanket to cover it, but the hole in the wall was never inconspicuous. Our furnace was big and black and set on the opposite side of the wall, or behind the hole. It took up most of the room in the basement. The basement bulb was never bright enough to light the entire room, so there were always dark shadows being cast in every corner, making the basement seem even darker and darker than it was. Nothing was really in the basement besides the furnace and the clothesline Mama kept up in the winter. Our basement floor stayed damp and wet in all 4 seasons. I remember that damp floor vividly. Just looking at it made me me imagine rats was crawling all over me. While I wish while I wished was anywhere else, I was laid on the floor and could feel hands all over me. One hand, then another hand, and yet another hand invaded my body. The basement was where my brothers would take turns using me for their own pleasure. From the first incident of my brothers raping me to the very last, I felt lost and afraid. Each time would bring me to my knees, sometimes in pain, other times in shame. Sometimes they would trick me into going into the basement alone and make me sit on the floor and wait a long time before they would even come down. I would sit there and jump at every sound I heard. I prayed a lot while waiting. God, please take me away from here. I hate being here. Please, God. Sometimes I would think I can see dragons coming out from the hole in the wall. Every minute being trapped on the basement stairs seemed like an eternity to me. Lay down, they commanded. The floor would be so cold, but they would make me lay there anyway, with no blanket, no sheet. They just let me lay on the bare, damp, cold floor. Other times they would push me against the cement wall. I wanted to push and move away, go right beyond the wall into the furnace, the hot, hot furnace. That's when I wanted to go. I could feel myself floating away from the cold, cold room, trying to escape somewhere, anywhere else. I could always feel the coldness of the wall or the floor, but my mind, even more reliable, would help me leave my body, and then I would feel nothing at all. Nothing at all. Well, that was pretty um, heavy when you think about a young person being molested. That was me by siblings. I remember the basement. I remember how dark and cold and dingy it was. I remember uh, being down there and just wanting so badly not to be in that space. When I think about that experience and many experiences, then um, it's always terrifying. Um, Hang in here with me with the story. gets better, you may want to ask yourself, I'm sure you're probably asking, well, how does she feel about her siblings? Thank God we were all children, we were young. Um, Even though it was a traumatic experience for me, um, it was something that I had to experience, right, to be the woman that I am today. But many children today still have those same issues. I think it helped me with the job that I have, working with abused children. It helps me relate to some of their pains that they experience. It helps me let them know that it's not the end, that things are going to get better. So hang in there with me. There's more. It doesn't always is not always like this. So it gets better. There's some labs as well. Thank you for listening.